Hi, my name is Byron. I'm the CEO of Microfresh International.
So today we'll be talking about your expertise as a technologist. So what does your typical day look like as a technologist?
As a technologist, a typical day is the other members of the team in the production asking you lots and lots of questions. Typically, leather is a natural raw material, so when you put it through a shoe factory, lots of strange things happen to it. It loses its colour, loses its shine, even can lose its stretch. So as a technologist, they come back to you and say, this leather that we've paid whatever it is per square metre, once we put it through the shoemaking process, looks and feels completely different. So your job as a finishing technologist is to make it look like something that's saleable and marketable to the consumer.
What was the most common challenge you faced?
Wow, the most common challenge you face in a shoe factory is time. Everything is done on time, it's on a conveyor belt, it's on a production line. So you're generally needed to go back to things in a very timely manner and make sure that things fit in with the footwear production process. There's no good having an answer that's going to take somebody 5 minutes in a production process that lasts 20 seconds. So you've got the constraints of the time, which is why you need a diagnostic brain, the scientific knowledge and the products at hand to make it work.
So from this, how did you solve the challenge?
From listening. You have to listen, because if you don't listen, you get the challenge wrong, you get the answer wrong. You listen to the problem, you look at the parameters around you to see what can I work with to make this leather look and smell and feel like it should do. So you also work with people that sometimes have different priorities than you. So again, you have to look at what they think, what's going to work for them, what's going to work for the company as a whole, and finish off with a saleable item.
So as a whole, what is the most important step in footwear production?
I've got to say it, the most important step is finishing. Shoes come off a production line looking like words that I can't say on camera. And you have to put lots of work, products in, waxes, polishes, even the machinery, spray guns, the polishing wheel, the speed of the polishing wheel to make it come off looking like a saleable item. So they're the biggest challenges. I think finishing is, and I would say that, the most important step of footwear production.
So what does a technologist need to consider during the step?
Wow, there's a few things that a technologist needs to consider. One is the constraints in which you're working in. So you're in a shoe factory, you're in a factory environment, you're in a production environment where people are sometimes unskilled. So any solution that you have has to be really easy to put into practice. Also consider things like language. You know, you may be sitting in the US and talking to a shoe factory in Asia. So if it's too complicated and it's too wordy, then that can fall down as well. So there's lots of things to consider. The main thing is to make sure that you have a saleable item that's not going to come back to you.
To conclude, what top 3 tips could you give to a technologist who wants to progress in the industry?
Wow, again, without sounding corny, listen, listen and listen. But seriously, listen to the issues that are coming along. Work out a plan, have a diagnostic brain, and also don't be afraid to do 5 or 6 or 7, 10 different samples, and then so that when you test them you can work out which one is the best and which one is the optimum. Don't just think this is the answer, I'm going to produce that and push it through, because it may cause problems further on down the line. An example is the shoes are not shiny enough. You put a different lacquer on to make them shinier, but that could mean that in wear they crack. So again, it's something about listening, producing lots of samples, having lots of wear tests and being sure in your own mind that there's not going to be any further problems down the line.